Hi everybody, Aggie back with ProSource Athletics YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about an epidemic that's happening, and yes, I'm using the word epidemic. In the last 4 months, I've been approached by several different parents and players who are now sidelined, who are outside of our organization or who are inside our organization and tried to work with some other people and got some poor advice and specific to some training programs, and now are injured. 3 elbow injuries and 1 shoulder injury. And so why am I talking about this? Because what happens is you're hearing things from the major league level, big league pitchers, big league hitters who are the top unbelievable athletes in the world and can handle some of this stuff with their bodies. And also, if they get hurt, that's their career, but they were already at the pinnacle. So they probably have Lloyd's of London insurance contracts, or they have some disability stuff in place that's not going to hurt their future. But yet that's filtering down to the youth level and youth level coaching. And so what's happening is people are going out there, picking up these programs that they know very little about and going, okay, now everybody should do weighted balls, or everybody should do this, or everybody should do that. First thing you need to understand is weighted balls have been around forever. This is nothing new, okay? It still goes back to the individual, okay? And I'm not against, per se, the weighted ball training, some of the people that are putting that out there. What I'm against is putting every single player in the same box and telling them that you need to do this and you need to do that, all for the sake of a velocity gain, and we're tearing apart arms doing it. It's not okay. And there's also another alternative. There's a conservative approach that says, hey, let's take your natural body type, let's work with that arm motion, work with that swing path, work with some things that are going to help you get to the next level in a slower, more controlled process. And yes, you heard me say that, in a slower, more controlled process. So it's not about, oh my gosh, I got to hurry up and get this done because I got to get to da-da-da-da, right? If you're a fringe player who is trying to get to college and it's a last ditch effort, then great. Maybe you utilize one of these programs and you try and max out your velocity to try and get you over the hump to get there. But that's that's a hard thing to say. That's a last ditch effort in order to further your career. But for a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old who's underdeveloped ligaments, underdeveloped muscles, doesn't understand their mechanics correctly, then to get under the guidance of somebody who's read a book or read a program, who doesn't understand you as a player, that's really a recipe for disaster. And as we're seeing, it's happening across the country. Arms are being torn apart. People's swings are getting worse and worse. Their batting averages are dropping, all because they're trying to increase their launch angle and do this and do that. Look, I'm not trying to be the one guy out there who's against the industry. I'm not at all. I'm part of that industry on many different levels, but I also want to be a voice of reason for the parents and players who will listen and say, listen, there is another way to do this that might take you a little bit longer, but it's going to be a safer, healthier way to do that. I had Tommy John surgery. I did weighted ball training. One of the reasons why I think I got hurt is because I didn't understand my mechanics, and candidly, I had poor mechanics. I opened up early, I had a short stride, I came across the ball, I used a lot of the front side of my throwing arm to create a lot of the velocity, but also a lot of the breaks in the pitching motion. I stopped with my arm, I recoiled, and I think that led to my Tommy John surgery. Even though nobody ever tried to change it, because I threw strikes and I kept moving up the ladders, but eventually my arm wore out because of it. And now I'm seeing guys do the same patterns. It's a cyclical thing. Baseball is very cyclical. So 20 years from now, this might be nothing that we even talk about anymore. But right now, it's a huge epidemic because it's causing a lot of problems with the youth level. I would say 10U to 18U level in the game of baseball. So just be really, really careful what's out there. Be careful what you're following. Get with good programs. Get with people who are highly trained, not only in the baseball background, sports specific, but also in the science of it. Have the degrees, have the medical background, have some things that can prove to you, hey, this is something that is good for you. If they can't tell you the why, then you don't want to do it. If they can explain the why and it makes sense both from a baseball standpoint, specific to your career and your situation, and also from a science standpoint specific to your body and your career, then maybe we do it. But if not, run as fast as you can. Okay, so as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for your feedback. It's been wonderful. We really appreciate everybody out there who's getting on board with some of the things we're preaching. I know it's kind of going against the grain a little bit, but it's also to promote an overall better wellness and approach to the game on many different levels. So thank you to the coaches, the players, everybody who's been super supportive. And as always, subscribe to value.